What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so I want to give a shout out to Dreamers Pro because he did a video talking about this as well. Shout out to him. He did a video talking about this today. So, in case you don't know, Shannon, Sharpe, and Chad Johnson have a podcast. It's called Nightcap, and I believe it's affiliated. This Nightcap podcast is affiliated with what's his name? With Fox Sports. His name eludes me right now. Colin Cowherd. And anyway, he's doing pretty well. I think they have over 200 and some thousand subscribers as I speak. But anyway, they started talking about James Harden and how James Harden, of course, he's with the Clippers, and he was talking about how James Harden played well. He was. I'm talking about Shannon Sharpe. He was talking about how James Harden played well, no matter who was in the lineup, right? No matter what player was in the lineup. He played well. And I think he was trying to contrast that to Russell Westbrook's limitations as far as, what group of players or guys he has to play with to be effective. And then he went on to talk about how he believes the pressure of playing with the Lakers affected Russell Westbrook's play, okay, as opposed to playing with the Clippers. So this is what he had to say. You should be able to hear this.
Guess what? The criticism is also magnified because you have to understand. You play in OKC, you play in Houston, you play in Washington. The criticism and the likes, you're on national television at least 40 times a year. You play with the Lakers. And so when you turn the ball over 7, 8 times, or you airball a couple of shots, and you go 7 for 28, or you go 2 for 17, people are going to talk.
Right. So basically, it's basically the same instance with that being a part of the Cowboys.
Yes.
There are certain teams that you play for that move the needle much more than others. Where
and the
regardless of how you play it elsewhere, it's magnified when you're playing for those teams. The Yankees, the Cowboys, the Lakers.
Ojo, I don't know how you feel about any other relationships you've been in. But if you and Rail were to break up, it would hurt you more because the expectations that you have with her. Other people that you were just doing with in high school and college and in the league, you're like, it hurt a little bit. But this, because you've invested in the expectation that Rail and I are going further. So when you play on a team and the expectations are up here, the criticism is going to be harsher because that fan base has an expectation of championship. They've gotten spoiled. And that's why you see the Patriots fans booing. Because for the last 20 years, what they've enjoyed a level of success no other team in the history of the NFL can say they've enjoyed over a 2-decade span. And so now they're having a little bad turn, and they're like, boo, boo. I remember when the Patriots, when people would say, if you weren't playing well, we're going to trade your ass to the Patriots. We're going to trade you to the Patriots. We're going to trade you to the Bengals, or we're going to trade you to the Colts. That's what they would say. So that's how bad it was in those places. You didn't want to get traded in any of those places. And now you had unparalleled since Mr. Kraft has taken over, brought that team. I think he brought it in like 93, 94. And then they go to the Super Bowl, although they'll lose to the Packers in 96. And then you know what happened in 2001 up until Brady left. So, man, but I'm happy for Russ that he's at a place. He's home. He wanted to be home. But I think the thing is, the Lakers was a team. He rooted for Shaq and Kobe. He went to those parades and to put that jersey on. And it hurt. He won't ever say this, but it hurt him that the community that he grew up in and the team that he rooted for, that the fans felt the way they felt about him because it didn't go the way they thought it would.
Listen, man, Russ is the real deal, man. I think, again, when you put in that type of work, man, and the consistency over the years and doing some of the things that he's done with the triple doubles and that being a record, man, that is a feat that is almost unheard that he's been able to achieve.
Ocho, that's why it hurt. Think about what you just said. You said the hard work that he put in. He put the hard work in. He's playing for the team that he's always wanted to play for.
Right.
And look what happened.
You're right.
That's why it hurt. See, now you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get
the
what
hard work that you put in, and that's why I said Rail. Think about the hard work. Rail got you to live a certain way, be a certain style, and you did that for her. And if it doesn't go,
yeah. So anyway, I just want you to hear that part. A little bit before that, he was talking about the pressure of, he was insinuating, Shannon Sharpe, that, Russ doesn't have the same pressure because of his role on the Clippers, him not playing for the Lakers, and him not having that big contract. Okay? And like he did with the Lakers. And I think that's bull, all right? That's balderdash. Since I'm trying not to curse no more on here, because people are trying to false flag me for whatever little things they can find. And I know who you are. But anyway, look, Russ, in my opinion, is amongst these players today who are always crying and complaining about every little thing, have their agents or they themselves will call TNT or ESPN or Fox Sports to complain about this analyst saying this, that, and the other. I think Russell Westbrook is one of the most mentally tough players in the NBA. Now, you critique some things off the court, his attire and all that type of stuff. I don't approve everything that he does. I don't like everything that Russ does off the court. But my goodness, what that man went through over the past year, really 2 years now, what he's gone through over the past 2 years, I really thought at times he would break. He would break. And it's not true about just because you're in LA, you get all these criticisms. Look, I can count on my hand, one hand, the number of times LeBron has seriously been criticized by the media for a loss. And each time he got on social media and cried and whined and complained after one game where he was held accountable. Russ was being held accountable as the third option on a team, even when it wasn't his fault. And by the way, I want to make a point about, he said something earlier, it wasn't in the audio, but he said something about, when James Harden was playing with the Nets, and there were times when KD was out and his numbers were even better, and there were times when Kyrie was out, his numbers were even better. But what Shannon Sharpe is leaving out is the fact that they weren't winning. Oh, he was putting up big numbers, but they weren't winning. Same thing with the Lakers. It's even worse with the Lakers because there were times when Russ was out there, because remember the last season he played, the last full season, Russ played like 78, 79 games with the Lakers. Whereas LeBron and AD were only playing like, 40-something, 50-something games? So there were long stretches when Russ was being forced to be the first option, and that wasn't a role that he was accustomed to playing anymore, and he wasn't acclimated to playing with the guys on the team, and there wasn't a lot of shooting on that team outside of maybe guys like Carmelo. So Russ would put up numbers, but they weren't winning. So magically, when Harden put up numbers and they're not winning, those matter. But when Russ puts up numbers and they lose, they don't matter. That's OKC all over again. That's the inconsistency with Russ haters, But no, the issues that Russ had is what we all said from the get-go. Russ was not a good fit for that team. It had nothing to do with pressure and all of that. He was not a good fit on that team. because he and LeBron James essentially had the same role, but LeBron just does everything that Russ does better, with the potential exception of rebounding, prime for prime. But other than that, he did, and Russ was a little bit better at racking up triple doubles, but still, the meat and potatoes things that they both did, LeBron is just better at Russ than Russ. But they had the same role. So, and when it comes to doing things off the ball, catch and shoot, Russ is awful. At least he was. Now he's been shooting better. I think he's been practicing on that, and you can see some of the effects of his practicing, that he's gotten better. But Russ will never be a bona fide catch and shoot player. That's just not his game. And that really wasn't his game in LA. But, he got blamed for everything. You know what I'm saying? He got blamed for everything when he got there. But, when AD got there, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, man. Got all these guys that weren't winning a damn thing before they got to LA. And, you know what I'm saying? They come to LA. They might come off the bench and contribute somewhat, but they champions because they happen to be on what was low-key a super team in 2020. And low-key, that was a super team. That bubble team for the Lakers, because you had LeBron James playing the point guard. You had AD locked in that year, the year that he was focused. People forget that Rondo was on that team, coming off the bench. Probably his last great year. Then you also had, if I'm not mistaken, on that team, Dwight Howard, and JaVale McGee on that team. That was low-key damn near a super team. KCP was on that team, who's now a champion with the Denver Nuggets. That was a really good team, man. But the GM broke that team up, wanting it to be more like the Golden State Warriors, focusing more on offense. And then they took a step backwards, lost in the first round. And then they acquired, for whatever reason, Russell Westbrook made no sense whatsoever from a basketball standpoint. Which is why I suspect, and I'll continue to suspect, that the main reason why Russ was brought there was to be a scapegoat. While LeBron had a carte blanche to shoot the basketball, play selfish ball, but knew that the media, because, most of the guys with social media, or most of the big players at least, the influencers, Shannon, Sharpe, Nick Wright, different guys like that, they're affiliated. A lot of these guys are affiliated with Klutch Sports, so they're going to put out certain talking points and certain angles, which are going to make LeBron and AD look good and other players look bad. So, anyway, that's just my take on it, man. I don't know why these guys are still so obsessed with Russell Westbrook. He's long gone. He plays for the Clippers. But they're still talking about this man. And, that's why I feel credible, and perhaps a better term is justified, in saying the things I say on here. They want to keep beating the same dead drum. Why can't I beat the same dead drum? Like they said. Like he said, the Lakers are the number one team, right? So why do I have to keep avoiding talking about this dude who's supposed to be held accountable, right? That's what Shannon Sharpe just said. If you play for the Lakers, you gotta be held accountable. So why is it that with Russ, he was held accountable, but with LeBron, you're supposed to ignore him? So that's all I got to say about it.